welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie if you're new here, and in today's video I'm doing an end of year book tag. I think I saw Destiny Sidwell started this and everybody's been jumping in on this trend and I want to do it. It's a lot of fun and it's a good chance to talk about books that I haven't necessarily talked about enough, even though I've probably definitely talked too much about some books. The first question is the most disappointing book of the year. My most disappointing book of the year is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I did like it, okay, but I was so excited for her newest release since I loved Love on the Brain and The Love Hypothesis. I gave both of those books 5 stars, so I was expecting to absolutely love this. And I didn't read it right away when it came out, and so I listened to people's reviews about it and everybody was raving about it. And so when I finally got it, I read it right away, and I don't know, it was hyped up too much in my mind, or I just listened to other people's opinions and I was going with it's gonna be the best book ever, and it just wasn't. Simply put, it was a good book. I think I gave it 3 stars. Just wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be. Okay, yeah, and my other most disappointing book was The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Everybody was recommending this after the Fourth Wing hype, and they were like, if you want a romantasy, you have to read this book. And I read it and I was very underwhelmed, and I will not be continuing the series. I was super excited because it was like vampire fantasy too, and I love Twilight. But this one just didn't do it for me. Next, we have our underdog book of the year. The way I'm taking this question is a book that you love and you haven't heard anybody talking about it, or people aren't talking about these books enough. So I have 2. My first one is Georgie All Along by Kate Claiborne. I read this in one of my reading vlogs where I was reading books I don't feel like reading. And I'm so glad I filmed that video because I ended up loving this book. I rated it 4 stars. I think I was honestly between like 4 and 4.5. So definitely above a 4 for me. Just not quite that 5-star feeling, but I know people would love this book, and it is on Kindle Unlimited as well. I think I said in my other video, the next book Kate Claiborne writes will be 5 stars because this was almost there. My other underdog book of the year is Ace of Spades by Frida Abake-Amide. I actually listened to this as an audiobook from Libby. The best way to describe it is Gossip Girl meets A Good Girl's Guide to Murder meets dark academia vibes. I don't exactly know, but I know the author did kind of say she was inspired by Gossip Girl and the boarding school vibe, so I hope I'm not wrong to say that. But it was just twisted. I was shocked. The ending had me just mouth open. There's revenge. It has everything. It had an incredibly powerful message, and obviously so, because I'm still thinking about it and recommending it to people. You guys have to add this to your 2024 reads for sure. Next, we have a book that was overhyped. Y'all gonna kill me for this one. Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It was good storytelling, but it just wasn't for me. Let's end it there. Favorite book couple. Y'all already know Harriet and Wynn from Happy Place. I need to stop right there because I will be talking about this book a lot more in this video, so I'll just keep it short. Favorite couple right here. Another honorable mention that is also kind of like an underdog book couple, or just underdog book, is the couple in The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I believe it's Cassie and Aiden, and I still picture some of their moments together, the dialogue between them, and I'm just like, I love them. A book that surprised me. The Inmate by Frida McFadden. Y'all, the epilogue, crazy. I was so surprised by this ending that I gave Sam the whole summary of the book. Then I made him read the epilogue just so I could talk about it with someone. New favorite author you discovered in 2023. Abby Jimenez. I read Part of Your World and then I read Yours Truly by her, and I gave both of those books 5 stars. So I need to keep reading books from her backlist because I'm obsessed. And this may be premature because I'm only 20% into this book right now, but I'm currently reading Snowed In by Catherine Walsh, and I love it. And I just feel like I'm gonna give it 5 stars. It's the perfect holiday romance. The banter is amazing. It reminds me of Emily Henry. So I'm also gonna say Catherine Walsh. happiest read of the year. We are going back to Happy Place by Emily Henry. I mean, it's literally called Happy Place. I also want to give an honorable mention to The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I've read this on vacation, so I may have just been in love with my life again because I was at the beach. But this book, I did think about it for a week or two after. Most frustrating book of the year. Turn it up. I actually don't even have this book anymore because I was so mad at it that I sold it on Pango Books and someone bought it. We're gonna go with None of This Is True by Lisa Joel. And I know that's a very unpopular opinion. I only see people obsessing over this book, but it just didn't do it for me. I read it in a day essentially just because I had to know what happened. And in the end, you don't even get to know what happened. That may be a spoiler, but it has an ominous ending. And I've read other books with ominous endings. I know Verity is a popular one, but in my head, I knew what the ending was. In this book, I don't know if I'm dumb, if I read it too fast. I couldn't piece together what I thought actually happened, like who was lying. But Lisa Joel's writing is definitely captivating, so there's that. And another honorable mention for most frustrating book of the year, we have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I didn't even want to finish this book, but I did because I thought it might get better. Spoiler, it didn't. Then we have Best Adaptation of the Year. And at first, I almost just said The Summer I Turned Pretty, which it was good, don't get me wrong, I'm obsessed with the show. But then I was just looking at my bookshelf and really thinking, I'm like, what am I forgetting? What TV show am I forgetting that I loved? You see all those stacks right there? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. I've got 7 books in the Heartstopper universe. Heartstopper was the best adaptation of the year, and honestly the best show in general that I watched this year. Season 2 came out in August. It follows the graphic novels so closely, and I love it. I think I've rewatched it over 10 times for sure, and I can't wait until season 3 comes out next year. Longest book you read this year. This shouldn't count, but you know what? It should count. I read Manacled by Sen-Lin Yu, and that is a Harry Potter fan fiction between Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger. And it is 1,800 pages. And it's beautiful and it's devastating. Need I say more? Oh, since I read Manacled on Kindle, well, you can only read it on Kindle because it's fan fiction. I think it said 1,800 pages on my Kindle, but it's actually 876. So just wanted to clarify that. A Court of Silver Flames was the second longest book I read with 751 pages. Shortest book you read this year. The first thing that came to my mind was That One Night by Emily Rath. But then I actually checked Goodreads, and the shortest book I read this year was Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. This is part of the Heartstopper series. I actually borrowed the audiobook from the library at the time and listened to it, and then I had to complete my collection. And apparently scenes from this novella, because this is considered a novella in the Heartstopper series as well, will be in season 3. And this book is different from the graphic novels because it's actually a book, and the graphic novels are graphic novels. Then we have your favorite book cover. I think all of my books are beautiful, but I love, and I don't have this book, so I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I love the cover for My Dark Romeo by Parker S. Huntington and L.J. Shen. The original cover is gorgeous, but there is also a special edition cover, and it has a dust cover, a secret cover that's also beautiful once you take the dust cover off, and the double foil slip case, which you can store your book in if you're traveling or something like that. And it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I saw it a while ago on Parker Huntington's TikTok because she actually commented on one of my TikToks. And so I went to her account and it was on there. I should have bought this when it was on sale on Amazon, but I told myself, like, no, you do not need more books. But I'm eventually going to get this and display it because it is gorgeous. And I like this book a lot. I recommended it to some people and they were like, Maddie, what the heck is this? But I am confident in my choices, okay? I liked it. It's really just a bunch of spice, so you can't go wrong with that. A book you haven't stopped thinking about, and that would be As Good as Dead, which is the third and final book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I almost didn't read the third book in the series because the second one really pissed me off and I didn't like it at all. But I'm so glad I read the third one because I still think about it every so often. And I can't wait for the TV series to come out. Cringiest book you read this year, that would go to immediately My Fault by Ron Mercedes. It took everything in me to finish it. It really, really did. But I wanted to watch the movie because there was a book talker that was hyping up the movie. And honestly, I love a bad movie. Bad movies are kind of fun to watch, but I don't love a bad book. So the book was bad. I watched the movie and I honestly enjoyed the movie. It got a little cringy for me at the end there, but I would watch it again. Highest and lowest books you read on Goodreads, and do you agree? I sorted all of the books that I read this year, and the lowest one was The Mister by E.L. James, which I actually just finished this book. It's the same author as 50 Shades of Grey. It was rated 3.41, which isn't even that low. Like, if I rate a book 3 stars, it means I liked it, okay? I guess I would agree because I gave it 3 stars. So 3.41 is fair for this book. It was a book, it was nothing special. My highest rated one was Manacled with a 4.67. Duh, I agree. You need to read it. If you like Harry Potter, I don't know, if you like dark romance, you would like this book for sure. And then if you guys didn't count that as a book, the next highest one was the Mind F series with a 4.64. Again, this is a very dark book, so just beware, but I flew through this book in probably 2 days. It's a series of 5 novellas, and the end of every novella ends in a cliffhanger, so you just have to keep reading it. Okay, my favorite quotes of the year were obviously from Happy Place and Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, so I'll read you guys some from there, but I will say some honorable mentions. I liked reading books about grief this year since my golden retriever died from cancer in February. He was only 2.5, so it was not a fun time. So every time a book talked about grief, I really enjoyed it. So some good quotes about grief were in A Million Junes by Emily Henry, and then Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, and then obviously A Million Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. But let me read you some of my favorite quotes from Happy Place to convince you to read this book. My best friends taught me a new kind of quiet, the peaceful stillness of knowing one another so well you don't need to fill the space, and a new kind of loud, noise as a celebration, as the overflow of joy at being alive. Here, now, I couldn't have imagined being any happier, loving anywhere else as much. Not until Sabrina brought us here, to her family's summer home on the coast of Maine. Not until I met Win. Okay, and I would split that quote into 2 parts, not I'm actually crying a little bit, because the one about the friendship one should be separate, but I just always got chills when it went until not until I met Win. Crying. Oh, I love this one from Happy Place as well. I'm in that phase of love where you're sure no 2 people have ever felt this way before. Goodbye. Goodbye. I like all of these. How many universes do you think we're together in? Higher than either of us can count. His mouth quirks. And you can count very high. And then when he says in every universe, it's you for me, even if it's not me for you. But it is you for her. This is a spoiler, skip 10 seconds ahead. But I also liked Happy Place because it talked about grief as well. Oh my god, I freaking love this quote. It's right before he proposes to her, and that's not a spoiler because on the back of the book you guys know that they were engaged and then break up, and then things happen from there. I am happier than I've ever been. Don't yet know that there is a level of happiness even deeper, one so intense it hurts, almost like loss or grief. A happiness so bright and hot you feel like it could incinerate you. That comes later that night when Win goes out to pick up Chinese food, comes back drenched from the rain. And then it goes into when they get engaged, but I won't spoil that. Okay, literally one more quote from Happy Place and then I have to stop, otherwise I'm gonna read you guys the whole book. His love is steady, constant, easier than breathing, because breathing is something you can overthink, to the point that you forget how your lungs work and get yourself into a panic. I could never forget how to love Win. Goodbye. That is so true, because you can forget how to breathe. Hashtag anxiety. Okay, wait, one more. I swear, last one. I wanted to be special, Harriet, he says, and since I wasn't, I settled for trying to make everyone love me. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but it's true. I spent my whole life chasing things and people who could make me feel like I mattered. And then I met you, and I didn't feel so lost or aimless, because even if there was nothing else for me, it felt like loving you was what I was made for. And it didn't matter what anyone thought of me. It didn't matter if I didn't have any other big plans for myself, as long as I got to love you. Goodbye. Yeah, I gotta turn the camera off for a few minutes. Okay, I'm back, and I'm here to cry about Daisy Hates now. Also, unpopular opinion, I love Christian and Daisy. I love them more than Magnolia and BJ. There, I said it. The first one that comes to my mind, and I don't know if it's in this one or the first Daisy Hates, but it's when Christian says, I am so effed up in love with you, and it's like this big declaration, and oh my god, yeah, it's on page 282. I am effed up in love with you. I've never stopped loving you since the second I realized that I did, and I admit it. It took me too long to know it, but I know it now, and I can't unknow it. I don't want to unknow it, and I want to be with you, and I'll do whatever I need to make us work. And then it just keeps going on. There's not a lot of quotes I highlight in here. I highlight a lot of Jessa Hastings' writing, because her writing is really beautiful. I feel like it's not actually as much dialogue as you would think. Isn't it funny how pain and sadness can be forgotten for fleeting moments? Your brain gets a tiny bit distracted, and it offers you the briefest moment of reprieve. Okay, and one more. Mom used to say to me, when you pick who you want to be with, you have to imagine every part of life, every scenario. Good, bad, happy, sad, painful, beautiful. Not just the person you want to do road trips with, but the person you want to be stuck in gridlock traffic with. Not just the person you want to have babies with, but the person you want to grieve with. I'm crying. The person you want next to you on the worst day of your life, at the funeral of someone you love. Who's next to you? Who do you go home to? You don't need a fair weather lover. You need the person that's going to stand next to you in their wellies. I don't know what that means. Staring down the barrel of the storm. And then it says, it's Daisy. I know it's Daisy. Damn it, I'm rereading this. I think wellies means rain boots from context clues. But the way I'm literally gonna reread this tonight. Moving right along, what is the book with the most unique concept that you read this year? Right away, I'm thinking A Million Junes by Emily Henry, which I've mentioned briefly before. It's one of her earlier books. It's young adult, and basically it just involves magical realism. There are like ghosts that communicate with her and stuff like that. So, book you would reread. Come on guys, I'm not gonna do this again. Happy Place, Book Lovers. I also gave Book Lovers 5 stars, and I would be talking about it a lot more right now if I hadn't read Happy Place, but then Happy Place just changed everything. But I do love me some Book Lovers as well. Anything by Abby Jimenez I would reread. Magnolia Parks, obviously. Oh, I want to reread Normal People as well, which I have this beautiful edition down here and the regular one up here. I love the TV show. This is the scripts, so it's not the full book, but the scripts they use in the show, and I just love it. I love this picture. Reading goal reflection and 2024 reading goals. A reflection on the year is I love my Kindle. I'm so glad I got my Kindle. I thought I was a paperback girly, but I love my Kindle more than anything. And I love going to the library. If you do not have a public library card right now, you guys need to go get one. It will save you so much money. It's just as fun as going to the bookstore, like getting to look at all the books. Sometimes when I want to buy books, but I know I shouldn't, I just go to the library and I will browse the books they have there and that don't have holds on them, and I'll come home with them. Will I even read them sometimes? No, but it's just nice to get a new book every once in a while. And the Libby app is so helpful. It's how I listen to all of my audiobooks, how I read new releases that I don't feel like buying yet unless I love them. Definitely use your resources. What are you prioritizing in 2024 with your reading? I need to stop going to the most popular book table in Barnes & Noble, the most popular display. I need to stop downloading every single book I hear on BookTok, because most of the time they don't even end up being my favorite books. So I would love to diversify my reading choices and hopefully find some new favorite authors and books from doing so. And also I want to get people I love into reading, because I know it definitely changed my life and it makes me so happy, and I would love for other people to get into reading. And there we have it. Thank you guys so much for watching my end of year book tag. I hope you found some new book recommendations, and I hope you guys agree with me on some of these. Don't come for me if I trashed your favorite book. Instead, you should just like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos, because I have read, drumroll please, 99 books this year, and I'm gonna get to 100 before the end of December. So see you guys next time. Bye.